do think it worked really well. I'm a huge fan of that show all the way up through the end.
Thanks.
And I'm a huge fan of the finale as well, which is very spiritual. And it's easy to say now, looking back on, other things that you've worked on. It's like, oh, spirituality is the theme throughout his work, but it may have taken some people off guard then. But I was curious, as you did head into that stretch, you say you knew kind of the oceanic, that story. Did you know the episode would be this kind of meeting in this kind of purgatory place?
Well, we knew a bunch of things. One of the things that we knew for a very long time was that the series was going to end with Jack's death. That would be the end of of his arc, as it were, to use screenwriter speak. But the symmetry of starting with his eye opening and ending with his eye closing felt like really good to us. But then, because Lost was a show that really reveled in nonlinear storytelling and like to jump around in time, we started to become like very enamored of the idea that although the final image of the final season would be Jack's eye closing, that we could show his entire experience post-death in some way, Trojan horsed inside the show. And how could we hide it? How could we actually give the audience what we felt like the audience had been demanding from the pilot, which is this purgatory? Are they all dead? So when someone asks you a question, I believe, because this is how it is with me, they're really telling you what they want, And I felt like there's a grand tradition from Rod Serling and Owl Creek and Sixth Sense on up that, that the true growth of the human spirit actually occurs post-death, that's the heaven can wait. That's the scenario where you can, free of the mortal coil, you can actually take a long, hard look at yourself and figure some stuff out before you ascend, descend, transcend, one of this, before you get sent somewhere. And so we all liked the idea in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the idea of the Bardo, which was, and I'm overly simplifying a vastly complex construct, but the idea of the Bardo is like, it's a place that you go when you die, but you don't know that you're dead. And it is like Bruce Willis in The Sixth Sense. Spoiler alert! Like, if you don't know that about The Sixth Sense, but so he doesn't know that he's dead, and the entire purpose of being in this space is to come to the revelation that you have died, but no one's allowed to tell you. Like, it's like the Truman Show in that way.
Yeah.
So you can get pushed along the way or get hints, but no one can tell you. And so we were like, oh God, that would be a really cool thing to do in the final season. But people will know what we're up to unless we make them think it's something else. Can we disguise it as a time travel paradox? And so that basically led to us backing into season 5 so that the incident would end season 5. And so when you started to get presented with, Oceanic 815 flying over a sunken island, your brain would tell you, oh, this is a parallel timeline where the plane never crashes. So that when we finally revealed, and it didn't feel like that was a finale reveal. It felt like once Desmond started waking up or gaining consciousness, or the Charlie of the parallel timeline remembered putting his hands up with like, nope, not Penny's boat, that the audience would start to get wise of like, how are these characters remembering events that never happened to them? The only logical answer is that they're in an afterlife, but kind of, I didn't see it getting widespread theoretical attention. And so, but that's why season 4 needed to set up, time travel into the Dharma times, et cetera, all in service of that grander idea. How we were going to do all those stories, and the fact that Jack had a son, or that Ben Linus was a substitute teacher, like, John Locke, but Ben Linus was a teacher and John Locke was a substitute. Like, all of that stuff came in the organic story breaking process of season 6. But like the big ideas were generated in these mini camps that we would have with the writers in between seasons, primarily between season 3 and 4, and then in the post-strike period between 4 and 5.